So we'll wait about a minute now because
Sounds good.
yeah.
I might pull that image up if we get a. 'Cause that's what
Oh, okay.
that's what the movie looked like. I never tried that before, but it might look cool for this.
Yeah, yeah. Would I add that to stage
Yeah, I
at a
think it
certain
just
time?
treats it. Yeah, it just treats it like another person in the video, I guess.
Okay.
Cool.
So let's go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How's everybody doing? It's Hank, Retentive Guy, here with the third edition of Phil Talk Sports and I's or My's Power Rangers movie reviews. At first, we did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, which the thumbnail was like the power is here, and then we did a Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, the power is back, and then this isn't necessarily a movie, but it's kind of like an arc that was made into kind of like a mini series movie, uh the Psycho Rangers, the power is evil, or the power is bad, right? Because the Psycho Rangers are bad. And I'm joined here once again with Phil Talk Sports, um, also not only a sports fan but also a Power Rangers fan. And Phil actually gave me the idea, or us the idea, to do this review because, and he'll share with you the reason why. And I'm going to add this image to the stage as he explains.
Well, Hank, thanks for having me again. It's always nice to talk some Power Rangers with you. Big part of my childhood, as we've mentioned before. But yeah, we had plans to do the original movie, the Turbo movie, and we were probably going to go to the 2017 movie after this. And I posed the question, what about the Power Rangers in Space movie? And I, a large reason to do this is I'm curious where the fandom fits this in. Do they consider this a movie? Because a lot of people witness this just in the normal arc of watching on Saturday mornings. But I own this VHS tape as a child, the one you're seeing on the screen right now. And what it did was, I guess, in the actual storyboard of the show, there'd be an episode with Psycho Rangers and then maybe a couple non-related ones, and they'd get back to fighting them. But what this movie with this VHS copy did was basically put all the Psycho Ranger story elements into one. I don't know if I can read it. It looks like 93-minute movie. So to me, I always viewed this as a movie. I think that large part of the fandom maybe doesn't, but considering there really wasn't a Power Ranger movie full blown after Turbo until 2017, this seemed like a fun little pit stop as we review everything. And it's very special to me because Power Rangers in Space, I think, is the most underrated series in all of Power Rangers. It's also where my fandom kind of ended for a good while. I watched a little bit of Lost Galaxy, but Lost Galaxy lost me, and I was kind of out. Got into Pokemon, got into Digimon, got into whatever Dragon Ball Z, of course. So this is really where I leave the franchise until modern stuff brought me back in the comics, the 2017 movie. So yeah, this one's very special to me, and I think it goes under the radar. Power Rangers in Space goes under the radar in general, but I think this movie does as well.
I would say I would say almost every season after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kind of goes under the radar because a lot of people actually left the series after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like In Space was supposed to be, you could call it the penultimate series until Haim Saban realized, oh, this is awesome. Like this is great. I need to make another series, a season. except not in space, just space, but in a lost galaxy. I would say that Power Rangers in Space transcended Power Rangers from the like normal serial based episodes where it's like all the episodes are kind of like disconnected from each other. Like you could start at like the 30th episode and be just as well off as if you started like the 10th episode. Whereas
Right.
in Power Rangers in Space, you really have to start out with episode 1 to know what's going on, because otherwise you're not going to be like, you're not going to, oh, like, why is Astronema so important to Andros? Because they're brother and sister, and the relationship between her and what is it, Dark Spectre, the,
Yep.
or no, not Dark, what's Ecliptor, right? Her
Okay.
kind
Yeah.
of like father master figure, who like basically goes along with all of the schemes that she puts forward without even thinking, because he's her protector, and what have you. And really, like, a lot of people love this season because of that. And the reason why they probably did that was because they were like, oh, this is going to be the last season. We got to put in all the stops and all that stuff. So I would say like I'd say like to the core fan base love Lost Galaxy, but like people who left after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers might be like, what? You know what I'm saying?
Because
I would
you're
say
more plugged in to the like fandom, maybe the community, the online community of Power Rangers than I am. This is like where the Zordon arc ends, right? So maybe that's why it's
yeah,
kind of a definitive
that's
way. So like, do people generally enjoy In Space? Because like I like Turbo, most people don't. Where do you
yeah.
think In Space? What's its like favor ranking on like a 1 to 10? Do you
I
think it's
I
like
would say I would say In Space is like somewhere between 1 and 5, because a lot of people also love uh, SPD, and some people like RPM. These series that kind of like transcends the norm of like the
yeah
everyday serial episodes. Also, like at the beginning, a lot of people didn't really like RPM, but now everybody loves RPM because it's just different, I would say. And a
yeah
lot of people don't like those ones because they're different. What's very ironic, before we get into the meat and potatoes that we're going to talk about, what's very ironic is that Power Rangers Turbo is not very popular in the United States, and it wasn't really received very well, not just because of Justin. A lot of it is because there was like a whole new team and a whole new group of characters, and it doesn't really match up that well with the stock footage, because in Japan, Gekuso Sentai Car Ranger, which was actually a very popular season because it was very kind-hearted and jovial and very campy. Um, After in Japan, there was a sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subway, and it brought a lot of like more like pep into things. And
mm,
actually, the series that was adapted from Power Rangers in Space wasn't very popular. So it's kind of like
interesting.
what was popular in Japan wasn't very popular in the United States. Um, so whether it's a movie or it's not a movie, I would say it depends on what your definition would be. Like, I feel like someone could have actually made this into a movie if they like got rid of like the different episodes, because some of the episodes they kind of don't match up with each other.
Well,
Like
we kind
there's
of
an
did. I
episode.
mean, the way we rewatched this was a fan
Yeah,
edit, so someone
yeah.
did take the time to do that.
No, I know, but it's like what I mean is like you can still see like there's an episode where the two girls are arguing with each other constantly.
Yes,
And it's
yes,
like that doesn't really match up as well with the episode where TJ figures out a plan to beat the Psycho Rangers. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
right.
it the way the person edited into it was good, with what they had, of course, but you can still see the episodes along with it. But I still think it's masterful in and out of itself, with TV budget. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah. And I think one
So
of the
yeah.
charms of In Space too, and you mentioned like the girls are doing, and actually we'll go a minute or two on that when we get to it, but
Mhm.
this was the first part that I felt the show was growing up with the kids watching it because they're not in high school, even though we weren't watching it in high school, but we knew what it was like to go to school every day and have to do homework and all this stuff. These kids, these young adults are not. They live on a space station. They're not really doing that sort of stuff. They're not in the community as much as they are for protecting the community. And
Mhm.
but yeah, the segment where the Pink and Yellow Ranger are arguing over chores and stuff like that was more real to us, I think, at the time. And like you didn't see a lot of Power Rangers prior to that have personal issues that didn't involve being Power Rangers. Those are the same ones you would have with your roommates in college later on and stuff. So this
Yeah.
one kind of
It,
just it was the first one that grew up with you, I felt.
it kind of reminded me of the episode where there was an episode in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers where Kimberly and Tommy were trying to become the class president, and
Hmm.
they had this huge argument with each other, and Lord Zed and Rita kind of capitalized off of it by putting a spell on both of them. It was kind of like that without the spell, because of
Right.
course, like no one casted a spell on them. They were just having cabin fever, you know,
Yeah.
like
I will say
I
this.
can't believe I have these responsibilities, you
Yeah,
know.
I will say this: in the instance of the Pink and Yellow Ranger arguing, it kind of shines a light on their acting not being that great outside of acting like Power Rangers. Like when they had to have a
Yeah,
real, like the facial expressions make me laugh at times, mostly with
yeah.
the Yellow Ranger, I believe. She's just got a lot of funky facial expressions.
I think her
Um,
name is. I think it's Ashley, right?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that is definitely something. But it was just different. Everything about this series was different. I like the concept of everything. I think the Silver Ranger is the coolest sixth Ranger outside of Tommy at any given point. And don't you have a
Justin
weird connection
Justin
with
Nemo.
him? Yeah,
Yeah,
don't you have have you shared that
my
before on here?
I'm not sure if I have, but my
Okay,
wife's friend, her husband knows Justin Nemo. And
interesting.
let me put this as another thing. Do you know why Justin Nemo was hired to become the Silver Ranger?
Did he go? Wait, did I? I'm gonna be so wrong on this. But didn't he like go into the audition with his hair already like that? Didn't have something that, like he dyed his hair
I
silver like
think
that?
so.
Okay,
He was a Brad Pitt lookalike.
okay. So they're
And
like, we
since
want
Brad Pitt was very popular back in the late 90s.
sure,
I mean, he still
yeah,
is, but
hmm
he did a lot during the late 90s. That is one of the reasons why, because he was a Brad Pitt lookalike. And you can
interesting,
see it. He kind of was a Brad Pitt lookalike with like the bleach blonde hair,
yeah.
and the facial features.
And he's really one of the few Rangers that go on to have any semblance of a acting career outside of the Power Ranger universe. So he's in a handful of other like smaller
It
projects, I
it
think.
was that it was him, and it was the yellow Lost Galaxy Ranger. Was in
Okay.
a bunch of things because
Hmm.
it looked attractive.
Sure, sure.
I don't know. Um, but let's get to the first one. And I'm gonna ask
Okay.
Phil this question right off the bat. I know you have the questions right in front of you.
Yep, I got 'em.
So the question is, how do the Psycho Rangers measure up to other evil Ranger teams?
I would have to put them towards the top because much like in the early seasons of like Green with Envy, we're not used to seeing the Power Rangers fail. We're used to them getting like knocked down and they get back up in the same fight and end up winning kind of just by freelancing. This is one of the few occasions, and I bring the Green Ranger situation back. If you watch this in the normal episodic thing, you saw them get their ass kicked 3 to 4 times, which could span like 2 months of your Saturday mornings. So they're very formative. It's not one of those, oh, we kind of fly by the seat of our pants, figure out a way to beat them. They lose multiple times. They have to go back to the drawing board multiple times, which is something you don't see a lot. They literally sit at a chessboard, and I love the use of the chessboard in this movie series, whatever you want to call it. And they're literally talking strategy. I don't recall ever seeing Power Rangers do that. So the effort that went into beating them has to put them towards the top.
Usually, like before this, if they were gonna beat a monster, it was because they were like spending a whole bunch of time in the command center, and they were like and Zordon was like, well, you can do this. And they're like, oh,
Oh,
whoa,
cool.
why didn't we think of that? Or like a character would be like, oh, the monster loves to look in the mirror, so obviously we can spend some time to make him or bring a mirror so that he can
Yeah.
look at it and he can get distracted by himself. This one kind of like goes on top of itself, but also this was the first Evil Ranger team where like the evil team wasn't cohesive.
Yes.
Like every time there's every season or most seasons, there's an Evil Ranger team. Like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, first season, they have two Evil Ranger teams. Like Rita does it, and then Lord Zed does it, and you're like, well, this didn't work before, so why are you doing it again? And then I
Right.
remember in Power Rangers Turbo, there were like two. The one was like a robot squad, and one
Yeah.
was like an evil, like another sort of evil team. But this one, each character has their own kind of identity. Like uh the red Psycho Ranger, he's like he doesn't ever want to really follow orders. He wants to like do things by himself. Or the yellow
He's
Psycho
kind
Ranger.
of their downfall, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's like the most powerful one, but he's also like
Sure.
he's more likely to go rogue and not listen to anybody. And then the
And I
yellow
never
Psycho
figured
Ranger.
out. I don't mean to cut you off, but I think it's a good
No,
time to
you're
bring
good.
this up. I
You're
never
good.
figured out, was this a team already, like, or did they get their powers from the villain, the main villain?
Didn't, didn't
Because she has
they
control over them.
weren't they
But I feel like
weren't
they
they
were already a thing.
weren't they like in like floppy disks, basically, like weird like thumb
Yeah.
drives or something like that? I
Hmm.
I I don't know that if we could explore the lore, we could probably figure that out. But
I do
like
want to say
oh yeah,
the
yeah.
to fully finish your question. Another
Yeah.
reason I think they're at the top, the Power Rangers never fully beat them. They have them on the ropes, and then they kind of get the plug pulled. But the
Yeah.
fact that they never fully defeat them, and I did do a little research, they do pop up one more time later in the series.
Yeah.
So that alone puts them top three, maybe higher. Very high up there.
It, and I forgot why they did that in the first place. Like why they popped back into those thumb drives, and then a villain in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy goes looking for them, and
And
like
download
a
re-downloads them into the world.
exactly. And Corone
Yeah.
is like in a cantina. She's pretending to be Astronema, and
Yeah.
then what have you. But to to continue what I was saying, like the Yellow Ranger, who you had informed me earlier, her name is just Yellow.
Yeah. They never get a
Which,
name in the show, but they do get names in the comics. So
and
interestingly enough.
she's kind of like the Tiger Ranger from Zoo Ranger, the character that the Yellow Mighty Morphin Power Ranger is based on. His name is literally Boy, so he's also like the youngest character. And then her character is like sit back and watch everybody do stuff, and then she kind of goes in and then like finishes the job. She's like a job finisher. She just like sits back, waits for her teammates to kind of whittle the characters down, and then she kind of just goes in. She's like super scrappy, and she's probably the smartest one, I would say.
So
um
while we're on that
yeah.
subject, I'll just read them out for the because again in the show they do not have names, but their lore is expanded upon in the comics. So just quickly, the Psycho Ranger is Virgil. The black one is Phantom actually. Axe is the Blue Ranger. Noah is the Pink Ranger. Trek is the Green Ranger, and as you mentioned, yeah, her name's just Yellow. And in the comic, though, apparently Trek the Green Ranger is the one that's more hot headed and is the strongest of the three. So they kind of tweak or the group.
and
So they kind of
and,
tweak
and
that.
the green Psycho Ranger never shows up in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they expand on that?
they in the comic he finds the green power coin and he finds a way to get new power in it, and that so he's the OG as well. So that's
Oh,
why he's
okay.
the strongest. Yeah. So
Gotcha. 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 But I would say they are probably one of the best Evil Ranger teams, if not the best. Would you like include Evil Ranger teams that eventually become good as
give
Ranger
me an
teams,
example of that.
like the Thunder Rangers in Power Rangers Ninja Storm? Originally, they're bad guys, and then they become good guys,
I mean,
like the Crimson and Navy Rangers.
I would include them in like the discussion, but I think because you would say like, well, they don't necessarily beat them, they just turn good. So like they're definitely
Yeah.
up there. But this is a group that, to my knowledge, they never fully defeat. So that really says something.
And then I think there's the Wolf Ranger from Power Rangers Wild Force. Originally, he's bad because he's essentially a different character who's corrupted and then becomes good. I guess
So they
I don't
kind of
know,
rework the Tommy
but
story at
but
that point.
exactly. But the Tommy story the source material used the same storyline. This was one of those
Right.
things where like the the show in the United States was like carbon copy of the show in Japan, outside of the fact that the Yellow Ranger is a girl in America, but the Yellow Ranger is a guy in Japan.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would say that they're probably the best. They're
Yeah, I
probably
would
the
agree with you.
toughest.
I would agree.
All right, next one. Let me ask you, best character in the arc and why?
I will go with. You want me to answer first, or do you
Yeah,
already have
yeah,
yours?
yeah,
Okay, all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I would go with TJ because he has several plan back to the chessboard, which is like my favorite element of this arc. He comes up with multiple strategies that work to varying degrees. He kind of reminds you like, hey, I was the leader in Turbo. Just because I'm not the leader here doesn't mean I don't have leadership qualities. So he ends up, first the idea, which this might let me look at these questions one more time. This is probably the time to bring this up. Actually, no,
Yeah.
we'll bring it up in five. But
No,
the
no,
fact that
you can still talk about it. It's fine.
so his initial strategy of like just don't fight your color. Like if you're black, fight yellow. If you're red, fight blue. That is essentially what works. It's just they're so good at fighting, they manage to get back to fighting their other color. But then when they show up all in blue and they can't tell who's who, that essentially is what does them in. That's when they pick off the first ranger, the pink one, I believe, is the first one that goes, and then they have the numbers advantage. So really,
Yeah.
to me, the second half of this is PJ reminding you that he used to be the leader because he has the ability to still do it. They let Andros be the leader because it's his ship, it's his power coins, it's his everything. But it really shows you his ability to, still lead the charge when needed.
Yeah. And I would say that is a really good best character because he is the one who comes up with all this. You really don't see any of the other characters come up
Come
with
up with
any
anything.
sort of strategy. No, they're like, I would say like in the whole like in the whole like mini series of like 3 or 4 episodes, what have you. It's one of those it's one of those things where Carlos is kind of like the character who doesn't really do anything. He's kind of like the, hey guys, don't do that, like, and then
He's like Adam in the first movie, whose only line is "I'm a frog." Like
I'm a
he's basically
frog.
that. Yeah.
And then Andros is obviously like the leader, and he does leader things, and he's thinking about his sister all the time. And then the girls are like mostly bickering with each other in that one episode. Um, I would say that one episode kind of like uh redeems TJ from Power Rangers Turbo if you didn't really like TJ from Power Rangers Turbo. Really,
Sure.
I'm not the biggest Power Rangers Turbo fan, but I believe that I believe that there's a line he makes in Power Rangers Turbo where he says, let's toss his salad," or
Oh
something
no.
like that.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
It's the episode where they're fighting the pizza man monster.
Yeah.
He's like, let's toss his salad.
I think the
And
closest thing to another ranger having an idea is when TJ also figures out that they recognize their voices, so they do
Yeah.
the little mini arc where they don't talk even when they're in public.
They can't talk.
But
They can't talk on the phone.
yeah, so Zane at one point their vehicle is like out somewhere, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just go jump them." And Zane's like, "No, they put it there because they wanted
Yeah,
you to find it. If you go
exactly.
after it, they're gonna." That's the closest thing to him having like, "No, that's a
And,
dumb idea. Don't do that."
and they didn't listen to him
And
either.
they and they get jumped. Yeah,
He was like, yeah, you should. Yeah, that was the other one. Like the we'll get into this later, but like
yeah,
the Psycho Rangers are tapping your phone call.
yeah.
Like they're sitting out with like a van or something like that with like a little signal. I would say the best character was Zane. And
Okay.
I say this because the the coolest thing is when he shows up dressed up as Psycho Silver.
Which where does he get that from? I like
I have
so
no idea. Like,
in the other version of the series there is a silver. So I'm
mhm.
sure in that version he like
No, no,
steals the
no,
suit or whatever.
no, no,
But
no. It's that one is there isn't a Psycho Silver.
okay.
It's the same thing. It's
Okay, he
it's
just dresses
it's
dresses as one.
shot the same. Like in the
Mm,
show, they're like, okay, he's he shows up and he's Psycho Silver, and like everyone's like, whoa, like what's happening? But
yeah,
I think in the show in Super Sentai, I don't I watched this a long time ago.
yeah.
I don't think anyone was in on it. So like I think the Rangers were surprised to see it too. This like wasn't something that was discussed with them because Mega Silver in the show was more of like a lone character that didn't in Mega Ranger, they don't live in space. They live on the Earth. Like the show isn't a the Mega Ranger isn't a space themed series. It's a video game and cyber themed series.
Hmm.
And the reason why the Psycho Rangers have an N on their belts is because in the show they're not called Psycho Rangers, they're called Neji Ranger.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's the other thing that I would find to be different. But I think in my personal opinion, I think Zane's the best character because Psycho Silver. And you're like,
Right.
whoa. But obviously, like as adults, we're not as like amazed by that. But like, I remember I watched that as a kid, and I was like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
like what are they gonna do?" But then he was like a good character who like helped defeat the Psycho Rangers.
So hey, real quick, I was on the wrong mic setting. Do I sound better or worse than I did a minute ago?
You sound better, but it's fine.
Okay, good to know.
It's
Okay,
all
so sorry
good.
about that,
It's
guys.
all good.
At
It's
least
all
it's
good.
better now. I didn't want it to be worse, moving forward. So all right, sorry about that.
You're good.
So this that would bring us to worst characters, I think, right?
It would bring and I'll let you go first with worst characters.
All right. So this pains me to say because he's, as I've mentioned, probably my favorite character outside of Tommy, because Tommy's everybody's favorite. And it's
Hmm.
not his fault that he's the answer to this. The worst character arc is the Silver Ranger because it's a numbers game. They have the advantage the entire time, and they never take advantage. Like from the start, it's 5-on-6,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
they even go down to 4-on-6, and they still don't get the advantage. It makes him look, and maybe this is my wrestler brain, it makes him look ineffective because they
Yeah.
have a whole extra person. Then they have a whole two extra people, and it makes him what he does and the fake Psycho Ranger. All that is awesome, but on the battlefield, when he is your plus one, and you don't get an advantage out of him being your plus one, that makes him look bad. So it's not that he's the worst character, but he's made to look the worst.
And that could be something that is pegged down to laziness
Yeah.
because usage of Japanese stock footage, which I don't know how much of an excuse Power Rangers in Space has because outside of like a few fight scenes and the Zord footage, they don't even use the same foot soldiers.
Hmm.
Like, they use different foot soldiers from the Sentai show. it could just and again, I haven't watched Mega Ranger since I was like 15, 16 years. That was like I don't even that was almost 20 years ago. So I haven't really seen it, but it might have something to do with like the usage of the character was lower in Japan. But I would agree with you. They had the numbers the whole time. They just never really took advantage of it.
And when
So
it's
I would
5
agree
on
with
6, you kind of are like, all right, these guys are really strong. But once it's
you. Yeah.
4 on 6, you're like, wait, this should almost be easy now.
Yeah.
And
We
so
should be able to
that is where it bugs me because like it's to be 4 on 6 because they finally took one out. Like I said, I believe it's the pink one that goes first.
yeah.
It's like at that point you kind of know what you're doing and you have the 2-man advantage. It's like imagine playing a soccer game and you're up. The other team gets 2 red cards and they're
Mhm.
still beating you 1-0 on the scoreboard. It's like, come on, how do you not get one in the back of the net? Like that's kind of how it would feel, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, and it might have something to do with the fact that the Psycho Rangers are just stronger than the regular Rangers,
Sure.
And again, I don't know, I'll agree with you on that sense, but you have to admit that when that dude comes out as the Silver Psycho Ranger,
Oh,
you were
it's the
just
best. It's the best. And again, it's not so much that it makes him look bad, but he's the extra person. If there was
yeah,
a silver psycho and there wasn't a blue psycho, the blue guy
mhm,
would seem like the weak link because
yeah,
him being added isn't helping. So it's realist. The math makes him the worst arc. But we both agree we
mhm,
love the character. We love the stuff
yeah,
he does in this movie and other things, and his Zord is awesome and just everything.
yeah, agreed. I would say the worst character, in my opinion, the character that just annoyed me the most was Dark Spectre.
Yeah,
Because imagine you're like a lava monster in space, which is essentially what he is,
sure.
right? And wait, who was like the evil villain who looks like who Divatox was trying to save in the Power
Um,
Rangers Turbo movie?
They look similar, right? One's green
Was it
lot.
Malagor?
Malgor. I was gonna,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the
Malgor. Yep.
same. It's essentially the same character.
He just has
Um,
green lines instead of the red lava lines, basically.
exactly.
Yeah,
He is, in my opinion, the worst character because imagine you're like one of the most powerful beings in the whole universe, and you've got control over like every supervillain, like Lord Zed and Rita. They cower against him.
yeah,
Divatox, she cowers against him, and he's like the controller of Astronema, right? Imagine imagine the youngest of all of those villains is just trying to work you.
yeah.
She is using the Psycho Rangers to drain your energy. And he's like, Astronema, who is draining my energy? And she's like, I don't know. We'll
Oh
figure it
no,
out
yeah,
in a second.
no idea. Yeah,
I'll figure it out after I'm done drinking this space tea.
yeah.
And she's like the one doing it the whole time.
Because he's basically an unmotivated Lord Zed. Because say what you will about Zed, he had no problem showing up to the battlefield. And like,
No.
yeah, he would send minions out first, but like he would get boots on the ground. This guy, I
Yeah.
don't know if he physically can't or for whatever reason, but like at some point do a little more work. If you are sitting there and losing energy, maybe try to figure it out for yourself a little bit too.
Maybe try to be like, hey, this other person who I control, why don't you figure that out too?
Yeah.
But the whole time he's just like, why is this happening? And she's like, I'll figure it out. We'll just
Yep.
wait one more episode so
Yeah.
that
I
I
mean, it makes
can
her
drain
look
your
good
energy.
as a villain. It
Yeah.
does make her look good as a
I've
villain, so
always
that's helpful.
thought, outside of the fact that sometimes she comes off as like, her character comes off as annoying, like she's like the actor is kind of forcing the evil, like with Lord Zed or like with Rita. Nothing seemed forced when they were evil. They just
Right.
looked evil and they sounded evil.
But she's
Just
also a
like,
much more grounded character. So she has to kind of
yeah,
play it up a
I
little bit, you
guess.
know?
But she's also just like, come to my chambers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I don't know. Just sometimes Astronema just feels forced, and you're not sure if it's like the actress or if it's like the direction.
But you're also coming from Diva Talk, so anything's going to be better. So you're just like, all right, it's not. And Diva Talks, what are they, cousins or
costume.
something? Yeah.
No, I don't think they're cousins. I don't think so.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Diva Talks and Rita are related somehow. Because in one of them, in the Turbo movie, she calls her
Frida.
Frida. They're at least friends, I guess. Maybe they're not related, but so they at least know each other. They have each other's phone number.
I thought the theory was that Divatox and Demetria, the Zordon, the new Zordon, they were related. They're like sisters
that might be
or something like that.
That might be it, yeah.
And I think they're played by the same actress too.
Oh, interesting. Funny how that works.
But I would say Dark Spectre is the worst character in the entire arc. That's just my personal opinion, because he just doesn't do anything and he gets worked by one of his minions really, really hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4. Best Psycho Ranger character, would you say?
I think the only one that really stands out is Red, because he's immediately rebellious, right? The blue shows the ability that even when they get split up on colors, like he's the first one to, refight his color. So he stands out on the battlefield a little more. But the only one with like a personality, even when they are humans for a little bit, which I don't. Watching it as a kid, I thought they were humans that just had these evil powers. Later looking, they just get the ability to look like humans so they can go around the mall looking for the Rangers. So the red one's really the only one that stands out for any, even when they are in human form. He also looks like, because he's got that curly hair, he looks like the PBS news guy in Anchorman when they all fight and the PBS guys show up, who says, "No commercials, no mercy." He looks like that.
I thought the curly-haired one was the black one.
Was he?
Yeah, the blonde one was the Black Ranger.
Oh, okay. All right.
The guy with brown hair. The guy with brown hair is the red one. And one thing that I'll interject into this is there's actually a fan-made series where the guy who plays Andros is in, where I don't think he's a ranger, but he's like the leader of a team where one of the characters is like, he has a turbo morpher that's also a space morpher, and when he morphs his I think it's his costume is the red Space Ranger and his helmet is the red Turbo Ranger. I forget what it's called, but the guy who plays the red Psycho Ranger is in it.
Okay, interesting.
He plays a part in it. I'm gonna go back to it and continue to say that the yellow Psycho Ranger is my favorite of the Psycho Rangers, just because I think that she's like the smartest one.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first see the Psycho Rangers, it's Psycho Pink versus Psycho Yellow. I think that was the episode where the Pink and Yellow Ranger are kind of arguing with each other, and the Pink Ranger is like doing all the dirty work and she's super scrappy and she's fighting. And then the Yellow Ranger is dressed up like an old woman or something like that.
That's
and
true. Yeah.
Like, she's just like, all right, like, I'm just going to wait until you kind of get tired out. And I'm just going to capture, I think she captured the yellow. Did she capture the yellow?
She did. She captured the yellow because the plan was to steal the pink one. But when she saw the opportunity to steal the yellow, she's like, I lied, and just took her instead.
Yeah, that was like the very beginning we noticed of like the backstabbing between the colors. Like they all like didn't really like Divatox, or not Diva, the Astronema at first.
Astronema, yeah.
But then like some of them were like, no, like we have to like listen to her, and the red was like, I don't listen to anybody, and then he just like does his like angsty stuff. But the yellow one was kind of like a mix between the red one, where she didn't really like answer to anybody, and She's kind of like the red one where she doesn't answer to anyone, and she was more like smarter than him.
True.
Like she had the smarts.
Yeah.
I would say like in second place to me was the blue one because he just wanted to kill the Blue Ranger the whole
Yeah,
time.
no, he was like Android 16. Like I have one mission in life and it's to kill
Yeah.
Goku. And in this
I
case
have one
Goku was
mission
TJ.
in life,
Yeah.
and that is to kill Goku.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to go to this restaurant? Is
Will
Goku
Goku be
there?
there?
Will Goku be there? No, then I will not go. You are a birdie. I will name you Toriyama.
Shout out to DBZ Abridged.
Yes, rest in peace. But we'll continue and we'll go to the fifth part of the because we're kind of leading into it. You kind of discussed it a little bit. The best strategy used by the Rangers in combating the Psycho Rangers, and you kind of discussed the strategy, but talk about the lead up to the strategy.
Well, they kind of get their ass kicked the first maybe 3 rounds, maybe it was 2 rounds. And I do believe that, especially when they get the pink one taken out, like just fighting off color ultimately would have worked eventually, but they would have had to continually stay separated. So when you add in the factor of everyone's a Blue Ranger or they could have everyone been in a Gray Ranger or whatever with no color on it or whatever. That obviously is the one that they have the most success with. So the Psycho Rangers don't have the ability to like I'm fighting the Red Ranger, but I look over, I see the blue. I'll figure out a way to get over to him so I can be fighting him again, which is what happens the first time they break it out. So I mean, they find the successful version of it, and it bears repeating. Like they get down to I think 3 of them, but they never fully take out. I think it's red, yellow, and black. I think are who's left. I could be wrong on
Yeah,
that part.
those were the ones that were left over.
Yeah, and then they get put back in their floppy disks or whatever. But yeah, it's that's the only way it seemed because like the person that they were another Dragon Ball Z reference. They were like the cell for each individual person. Like they knew their moves, they studied them, they knew their history. So when you throw another person at them, it's a much more even if they are more powerful. It's a more fair fight.
Yeah, and did they ever was it experience fighting them the first time that allowed them to understand what their moves were, or were they just programmed to know what their moves were?
I think it was a little bit of both because they're obviously programmed with like an objective. So I think they have like a baseline of data, but then after fighting them, they kind of fills in the gaps a little bit. I think because the first time they
So they
show up,
are basically androids.
yeah, I would say so. That's how I always viewed it.
They're like androids mixed with like the Terminators or something like that.
Right.
Okay. So continue with like the build up. Like what happened after they kind of failed at like fighting their specific color?
I forget the main because like oh we got it, we figured it out, and then funny like again it goes back to TJ. He comes up with the idea and he goes and finds blue spray paint because we're all visual learners, and he spray paints all the ranger figures blue to create the see now they don't know who's who and we can pick off anyone we want. So really it's again TJ just stepping up and having the idea, and they don't I don't think Zayn ends up doing that, so but again he doesn't have a counterpart, so then he's truly like an addition to all this. So I don't know what else they could have attempted. I mean, they don't have the ability to grow, so I don't know if like bringing the Zords in to fight him at that size would have been something.
Which would have been which is always something that we always say, well, why don't you get your Zords out first and then crush them? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
how any Zord after the first episode of Mighty Morphin, they never try to do anything with the Zords individually. They bring them out and automatically turn to a Megazord of some site. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's because of lazy American stock footage. Because I think it's like in every season, like they bring the Zords out. Like the first couple episodes, they bring the Zords out as individuals,
Yeah.
Like one of the Zords will like be brought out, and then after like episode 6, they combine or something like
Yeah.
that. But in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, they brought the Megazord out in the first episode.
And the only other time you really see that is, which we already covered, the Mighty Morphin movie. There is a good like 10-minute period where they're learning how to use their individual Zords, and then it's like, all right, that's enough of that Megazord.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And let me add more stuff in. So, because I have the same answer as you do. I'm not as fond of the like, don't talk to each other, like don't use your pagers or don't talk. Period. Because they'll be able to hear you. They're not just listening in on our phone calls. They're also like listening in on us too.
Yeah.
So PJ gets the snot beaten out of him.
Yeah.
Right, because the Blue Ranger comes in, he just polishes him off, and he's like all bandaged up, like laying on like a bed, and like Cassie comes into the room with like a bunch of food, and she's like, "You need to rest." And then they come back, and he's gone, and he's watching game film.
Yeah.
Film. And
he's like the Ryan
real question
Russillo of the Power Rangers, you know?
The real question was, how did they get that footage?
It was security footage in the mall. They do actually explain that.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah,
I missed that part. It kind of reminds me of have you seen Spaceballs, right?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah. So like, you know how like there's actually like a part of the movie where they discuss how they released the movie already. Like they pre-recorded the movie. So there's one part where we're watching us. We're here. Or are we there? And then like Rick Moranis is like there's an actual camera filming everything.
Right.
Okay, so he's watching film, and all of a sudden, like the power goes out or something like that, and the TV
the color of the color of the footage goes black and white. That's what gives him the idea that like, oh, I can't tell who's who.
He's like,
yeah,
we'll like, and they don't really explain this, but it's not like, how do I say it? It's not like every one of the Rangers is their costume in blue. They're all wearing the Blue Ranger costume.
It's true. Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, you know, my helmet looks like this, and because all the Rangers' helmets look different.
Slightly different, yeah.
Slightly like something.
The suit is the same, just in different colors, but the helmets,
yeah. But like the Blue Ranger's helmet is kind of like, the visor is kind of like narrower than the other ones. But it's like they're all wearing his costume. They're not all like spray painted blue. I was like, how did
Which is a nice touch. I assume he has, you know, Alpha whips up the costumes, and you know, here's four, 4 more, whatever it is. But yeah, no, it was genius. It worked for the most part. They would have ultimately probably picked them all off over time. Worked out
wearing their costume.
I would at that point, I would mix it up every time. Like you show up as a gang of Blue Rangers, and then next time you're like the gang of Black Rangers, and then just so they really don't know what's what.
What would have been a better strategy than not fighting your Ranger would have been, here, take my morpher.
Does that work? Does that work? I don't know.
Like the Psycho Rangers, they're not able to tell who's who.
No, they're not.
Like, except for the fact that they know the voices.
Yeah.
But like, because there's actually a season of Super Sentai where the Rangers can switch colors on a whim.
Okay.
It's called Tokyuger. It's the season where the Megazord has a train coming out of its waist that looks like a giant, you know.
Yeah. Right.
That was never adapted because that would just be no. Like,
no, don't do that. Yeah.
Parents would be like, wait, what?
I mean, we've seen that meme of it, but yeah, it obviously never came over here.
But in that season, they could switch colors. Yeah. So, but they would have the same visor. Like they would have, if they were the red one, they'd keep their red visor, but it would be a different color.
Sure,
So
I got you.
I would say that would have been the best. That would have been the best strategy that was never used.
Right. Because yeah, I don't know of any other time that you could just like take somebody's color and use it. So other than that, so
Mhm.
all right. So
All
what we
right.
got? Closing thoughts, I think.
Closing thoughts, overall rate. Closing thoughts, including overall rating of this fan movie / regular movie, because you've actually watched you owned this.
I did.
So
And I
what
actually
is
had it
yeah
up until my house flooded 3 years ago. So I could have had it in my hand and shown you guys. So, but I mean, I feel like I could probably pull this up on eBay right now. I think it's an obtainable thing to have these days. But yes, I
yeah
did in fact have that. I think it is because when we did Turbo, I remember liking the Turbo movie more than I liked the Turbo movie. This one was about what I remembered. So I would say it's better than the Turbo movie, but obviously not as good as the Ivan Ooze original movie. So I would put it in 2 out of 3.
Oh,
Second
like out
place
of
that
the
one.
ones second place. But like,
Second place, yeah.
What would you say out of 10?
Oh, okay. Give it a 7.8 out of 10.
7.8. Okay. I'm looking up something right now. To put things, so that was not the first non-sanctioned movie that came out
You
for
can get it
power.
for
Like,
12 bucks on eBay right now.
so let me show you something that I had
Okay.
when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Let me remove this here. Can I add it? Did you just
The
add an
little
image
add an
file?
image, yep.
Okay, watch this. I owned this. And if we ever want to review this, I owned this.
I've
So
never seen this. Okay.
this was probably the precursor to that. This was the
It looks that
actual
way.
Zeo Quest.
Okay.
So this was like the Power Rangers are children and they're going on the Zeo Quest. And
Okay,
it's like it's like a 90-minute thing, which just goes over not only the quest, but also the side thing with Goldar and Rito and trying to get the Zeo crystals and how it explains how they like lost their memory and stuff like that. Well, it never
Right.
really explains that, but they lose their memory, they don't know who they are or who they work for. And then it goes over like them getting their powers, the command center getting destroyed, and that stuff. What it cuts out is the stuff about like the actual, because it's like 5 episodes essentially.
Okay.
Like there's other stuff going on Earth. Like there's monsters that the alien rangers need
Alien
to fight.
Rangers, yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
so
remember I remember that arc. I saw bits and pieces of it on the regular show version. So,
but that is actually what I remember from that. I actually it took me till like I was a lot older to like be like, oh, there are actual other parts of this. Like this just seems like something they cut and spliced and they made into a 90-minute movie. So I don't know if that's on YouTube. Definitely
um,
something that can be searched up. But
yeah, we'll have to
that
hunt that
was
one down.
that I owned that. That was something that someone got for me, and obviously, like I don't own it anymore. Like I must it, maybe I gave it away as I got older, but it's a similar thing, just basically with kids
Yeah,
instead of
we'll have
adults.
to do some research and see if we can
Yeah,
watch that one. Because
but
after that,
yeah.
I mean, because we're looking down the barrel at doing the 2017 movie, and then we're kind of out of
Mhm.
movies at that point. We might have to go into the
You might
James
have to go into
Vanderbeek
like
fan made movie and all that sort of stuff.
or like Once a Ranger, the
We
one
did
with
that, didn't we?
No, that's that's like Once and Always. There's another
Okay.
one called Once a Ranger where Adam comes back as the Black Ranger.
Oh, I vaguely
And
remember
like
that. Oh yeah, I definitely want to
and
look
then
into that too. Yeah.
and then obviously Forever Red.
Forever Red. Yes. Okay. So we
Yeah.
got plans. We got things we can do for
Yeah.
sure. But no, this
Um
was fun, man. This
yeah.
one has meant a lot to me, and I'm glad we got to add it to our list here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say that when it comes to movies that weren't actually originally movies that were edited together to become a movie, I would say that I thought it was better than the ZeoQuest movie because I actually watched that. I actually watched that edited
Mhm.
together movie.
Would you
And
view it as better than Turbo? Would you? What do you think?
yeah, just because I'm not a huge Turbo fan
Mhm.
and because I feel like the movie was made as like a capitalization tool instead of like a let's actually try to make a movie. Like it was cool to see Jason and Kimberly in it, but like they could have made the movie without them.
Right.
It was purely obvious that they were using the star power of Jason and Kimberly to try to hold the movie down because I'm sure a lot of people were like, well, who are these other characters?
Yeah.
You know, like we know who Tommy is,
Yeah.
but why isn't Kimberly the Pink Ranger? And
Yeah.
why isn't Jason the Red Ranger? And why isn't Tommy the Green Ranger? You know,
Right.
I'm sure like there was like confusion there. But obviously they used those two characters to be like, well, the story is not as good, but Jason's back, yay! You know what I'm saying?
I will say this, and it's pretty much my closing statement. I think
Mm,
what do we say about the first two that we both like for the most part? We both have
yeah.
positive feelings for them.
Mhm.
You spend 20 to 30 minutes of both of those movies waiting for them to become Rangers for different
Yeah.
reasons, but you're waiting on that. Because this was baked into the real series, you don't have that problem. They are Rangers
No.
from jump. I think the opening scene,
No.
they're already fighting people as Rangers. So, like, it
Yeah.
has that going for it for sure.
What's a very underrated thing, and I guess I'll close in on this, is one of the first scenes is they're in not Ernie's juice bar.
Yeah, it's
Like
that other
Ernie's
lady. Yeah.
juice, yeah, and they're like, "Yeah, we're ready to eat cheeseburgers," and then it's like, "Oh, we got to leave because we got to do our job." You
Yep.
know, it's like, but it's like not a juice bar anymore because Ernie doesn't work there, and the police office lieutenant, what's his name?
I
The
forget.
Yeah, he's no longer. It's just this woman who owns it.
Yeah.
And I always had this question before we log off. Wasn't there an episode where they're at school?
In space?
Yeah, in Power Rangers in Space. Like they're not graduated yet. Like they're
I
like,
don't
"Oh,
recall.
we got to take tests." You
Is
know,
it
like we're
maybe it's
just
like college? Maybe they're in college. I don't remember them
No,
being in
no,
high
they're not
school,
in
but
college. They're still in high school because it's the same.
I don't remember that one. If so, I mean,
And,
I'm not saying it
and
doesn't exist, but I don't remember it.
and then I was like, "Wait, doesn't Justin still go to this school? Like, where's
Right.
Justin?"
Well, there
He
is an
doesn't
episode.
where he
Now I
comes
really
back.
will end on this. That where he
Yeah.
saves the day, and he bumps into TJ, and he's like basically like, "What the f, bro? I'm blue," and he's like, "It's me, TJ," and he's like, "Bro, you look great." Like, and they bro down for a minute, and again, I'm a Justin fan, so I loved it. I wanted to see him more. As a kid, I waited every Saturday for him to have another appearance, and he never did.
Imagine if TJ was like, "Yo, my name is Andros," and he's like, "Who?" And then they start fighting each
Right,
other.
right. If he didn't know the guy, he's like, "All right, nope, I'm taking you
He's
out."
like, "Who's TJ?" But yeah, I feel like it when it comes to like the episodic things, it feels a lot like Green with Evil. You know,
Yes, it's closer to Green
it
with Evil than it is the other stuff for sure.
yeah, and like it almost feels like it's another Sixth Ranger saga
Hmm.
instead of a just few off episodes.
Yeah.
Because it really puts to the forefront like these Rangers characters, and it shows kind of like their acting abilities more than other, like you kind of like feel like this isn't one of those things where you're ever like rooting on the villains. Like you're like, how are the Rangers going to destroy these like really tough villains?
Yeah.
And they eventually do it.
And what makes them
Until
extra
Power Rangers
evil
Lost Galaxy.
is they plan to go after like the town folk eventually, whereas most
Yeah.
cases they're just after the Rangers, so that makes them seem even
Yeah.
more cynical. So, but no, good stuff. It was great to revisit.
Very
A
good.
lot of fun. Glad it was easily accessible on YouTube. So shout out to the fan who made that. Yeah, it was a nice little memory lane thing for sure.
And it was nice for me as someone who had never seen the 90 minutes in its entirety.
Right.
So that was good.
For sure.
All right. So we are signing off. This was awesome with Phil. Always a good time on these discuss these reviews for the Power Rangers movies or Power Rangers 90-minute episodes. I would say we'll try to figure out what we're gonna do next. I think we should probably plan on the 2017 one being the last one. We kind of like
Sure.
the Happy Gilmore 2 version.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think I'll throw this out there because that's going to
Mhm.
be last between Forever Red, the Zeo one that I didn't know existed.
Mhm.
You should just put a poll up and let the people decide what we do next.
Yeah.
Go from there. Yeah,
Could
maybe
do that.
maybe do it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So after the next episode I upload, which will be probably in January, I'll plug that, see what everyone wants. Obviously between the Zeo Quest or Forever Red and Once a Ranger.
Those are probably the
and we
three
could-
choices. Yeah.
Yeah. And we could probably, maybe there's other ones out there. Who knows?
Right.
But those are definitely the three that really come to mind when it comes to something you could put together in about 90 minutes. Because I think
For sure.
the Once a Ranger one is an hour. So I think that one's
Okay.
2 episodes.
Nice.
And I know Forever Red I think is 30 minutes.
It's just a slightly longer episode. Yeah.
I think it's like, and from what I remember from what someone said, they were almost not going to make Forever Red because I remember Disney was like, well, we already made a team up one, the Wild Force versus Time Force. So we're not going to make another one. And then I think the writers were like, well, wait, Super Sentai, they came out with a 25th anniversary special where all the Red Rangers pop up from like 1975 to 2000 or 2001. We got to do this. And then Disney was eventually like, okay, fine. And it ended up becoming way more popular than the team up special, the original team up special. So
yeah, I mean, if we don't get a whole lot of participation on the poll, my vote would be for Forever Red, but I would rather the people decide for sure. So we'll see.
Yeah. Let the people decide. Right? This is people's court. All right. But this was great. Again, Phil, any other last words before we depart? If you ever want to subscribe to his channel, it's PhilTalksSports on YouTube.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Makes podcasts for obviously like football, wrestling, and movies as well, especially sports movies. So definitely, and you look at his background, just like it's like a cornucopia. It's like a shrine to wrestling. Look at all those belts back there.
It's a shrine to everything. Basically, yeah. It's a good. If you're curious what's on the podcast, it's a collection of everything behind me here. I have everything from Kevin Smith posters to wrestling belts to football helmets. So yeah, it's a good mixture of stuff.
Always a good time, Phil. Always a good time. And again, check him out. He's got some really great stuff. The Phil Talks Sports podcast. I've been on a few of them, and I've been on his reviews for Adam Sandler movies because I look like Adam Sandler, and I have watched a bunch of Adam Sandler movies. Check those out. And that's all I've got. Everyone have a good one.
Peace.
No. Continue.
I was gonna say, and let the power protect you. That's the ending line.
Yes. Let the power protect you. To end off of something, my son has kind of been getting into Power Rangers, and there's this one Mighty
Let's
Morphin
go.
Power Rangers. This one Mighty Morphin Power Rangers song that we found on the Apple Music app, where it's like the movie version, but it's kind of like edited, where Zordon's like danger, 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 go Power Rangers, and then at the very end, Alpha's like, look at the viewing globe, and he's like, that is the future you see. That is the White Ranger. And then you listen to the communicator song, the jingle.
Nice.
Yeah. But that's all I got. Everyone have a nice day, and we'll obviously be back. If no one votes for it, or no one votes or we get low participation, we're probably going to do Forever Red.
Yep.
So everyone have a good one.
See you then. Yep.
And then let the power protect you.